Level 1. The name they will fear. One day, your name alone will empty cities. Mothers will whisper it to silence crying children. Armies will turn back at the border rather than face you. Entire nations will debate whether you are a monster or a messiah. But right now, you are just a boy. Born in 1431 in the frozen mountains of Wallachia, you enter a world already soaked in blood. Your father is Vlad II, a knight of the Order of the Dragon. Sworn to defend Christendom against the Ottoman tide, he names you Vlad, but the world will one day call you something else entirely, something darker. Your father's emblem is a dragon, Dracula in your language, and so the people call him Dracula, the dragon. That makes you Dracula, son of the dragon. You don't know it yet, but that name will outlive every empire on earth. Level 2. The cage. You are 6 years old the first time you understand what fear tastes like. Your father is a prince, yes, but in Wallachia, princes do not sleep easy. The boyars, the powerful noble families, shift loyalties like the wind. The Ottomans press from the south, Hungary threatens from the west. Your father walks a blade's edge every single day, and he teaches you to walk it too. You watch him negotiate, manipulate, smile at men he despises. You learn early that power is not given, it is performed, it is survived. But nothing prepares you for what comes at age 12. Your father makes a deal with the Ottoman Sultan Murad II to preserve his throne, a political alliance sealed with the oldest currency in the world. His sons, you and your younger brother Radu, are taken as hostages to the Ottoman court in Edirne. Not as prisoners exactly, more like guarantees, insurance that your father will not betray the Sultan. The gates close behind you. You will not see Wallachia for years. Level 3. The furnace. The Ottoman court is magnificent and merciless in equal measure. You are educated here. Languages, philosophy, military strategy, the art of war. The Ottomans are not savages. They are sophisticated, disciplined, and absolutely ruthless, and somewhere deep inside your young mind you begin absorbing every lesson, but you never forget that you are a captive. Your brother, Radu, adapts. He learns to charm the Sultan's son, Mehmed. He converts. He becomes comfortable, he becomes one of them. You do not, you harden instead. You watch the Janissary soldiers drill in the courtyard for hours, and you study them. You watch how the Ottomans use terror as a tool of governance, how impaling enemies on stakes outside city walls sends a message no army can deliver. You file that away, deep, silent, waiting. Then news arrives from Wallachia. Your father has been overthrown, murdered by the boyars he spent his life trying to control. Your older brother Mirza, your heir apparent, was buried alive. You are alone now. No throne, no family, no kingdom, just fury and fury. If you survive long enough, becomes something far more dangerous. Level 4. The return. You are released. The Ottomans have no more use for you. You are a prince without a principality, a dragon without a territory. You wander. Hungary, Moldavia, the borderlands, surviving on political connections and sheer will. You watch other men sit on the throne of Wallachia, and you feel it like a wound that will not close. That is your throne. In 1448, at just 17 years old, you seize it for the first time. The Ottomans back you briefly. You rule for 2 months, then you are pushed out again. Another man sits on your throne. You retreat, you plan. You do not collapse, you do not surrender. You simply wait, sharpen, and calculate. 8 more years pass. In 1456, you come back, this time with Hungarian backing, this time with an army at your back, and a coldness in your eyes that was not there before. You defeat Vladislav II in single combat, hand to hand, man to man. You kill him yourself. The throne of Wallachia is yours, and this time, you are not letting go. Level 5. The Purge. The first thing you do as prince is throw a feast. You invite the boyar families, the same noble class that murdered your father, buried your brother alive, and destabilized Wallachia for decades. You invite them all, hundreds of them, old men, young men, their families. You set the tables, you pour the wine, and then, when the feast is at its height, you have them arrested. Every single one, the older boy, ours and their families, are marched outside the city and impaled on stakes, rows of them, the younger and stronger ones. The ones still useful, you put in chains and march them to a crumbling fortress in the mountains, Poenari Castle. You force them to rebuild it with their own hands until their noble clothes rot off their backs and many of them die from exhaustion. The message is not subtle. It is architectural. You are not a prince who fears the nobles. You are a prince the nobles should fear. Word spreads fast. Merchants hear it, peasants hear it, foreign diplomats hear it and write frantic letters home. The Ottomans hear it and grow very, very still. Wallachia has a new ruler, and he is not like the others. Level 6. The Law of the Dragon. You remake Wallachia from the inside out. You believe, genuinely, deeply believe, that order is the highest form of mercy. Chaos kills more people than any executioner. Corruption, theft, betrayal. These are the real plagues of your land, and you intend to cure them. Laws are enforced with absolute precision. Merchants who cheat cheat are punished, officials who take bribes disappear. Theft is treated as a capital offense. There is a legend, and even your enemies will tell it, that you place a golden cup beside a public fountain, unchained, free for anyone to drink from, and no one steals it. Not once, because everyone knows what happens to those who cross you. Your people, the common people, the farmers, the craftsmen, they speak of you differently than the nobles do. To them, you are harsh but fair. You are the first prince in memory who punishes the powerful as readily as the poor. You are building something, a Wallachia that can survive, that can fight, because the Ottomans are still there. They are always there, patient as a tide, and the Sultan is beginning to notice that his tribute payments from Wallachia have stopped arriving. He sends envoys to ask why. You send them back impaled. Level 7, the night attack. It is 1462. The Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II, the same Mehmed who conquered Constantinople just 9 years ago, leads a force of 90,000 men into Wallachia. 90,000? You have perhaps 30,000. Any sane man would negotiate. Your own brother Radu rides with the Ottomans, ready to take your throne in exchange for Ottoman loyalty. You do not negotiate. You fight on your terms. You burn your own crops, poison your own wells, drive your own people into the forests. You give the Ottoman army nothing. No food, no shelter, no easy targets. And then, in the dead of a June night, you ride directly into the Ottoman camp with a force of cavalry. You are trying to kill Mehmed personally. You almost succeed. The chaos you unleash that night is absolute. Soldiers wake to flames and screaming and blades in the dark. Thousands die. Mehmed himself is nearly reached. The Sultan, the conqueror of Constantinople, spends the night genuinely afraid. He survives, but when he marches his army forward the next day toward the Wallachian capital, he finds something waiting for him. A forest, not of trees, of stakes, 20,000 Ottoman prisoners and Wallachian enemies, impaled in rows stretching for miles, a corridor of the dead, arranged as a greeting, as a declaration. Mehmed the Conqueror, a man who has seen war his entire life, reportedly turns pale. Some of his generals weep. He calls it a victory and retreats. You are still standing. Level 8. The walls close in. But victory has a cost you cannot pay forever. The Hungarian king, John Hunyadi's son, Matthias Corvinus, was supposed to be your ally. You had written letters warning him about the Ottoman advance, detailed urgent letters. He uses them against you. He arrests you, imprisons you in a Hungarian dungeon, and tells the world you were negotiating with the Ottomans, that you were a traitor. He takes the money that was meant to fund your war and spends it elsewhere. The evidence is almost certainly forged. You know it. He knows it. History will eventually know it. But you are in a cell, and your brother Radu is on your throne. The Ottomans have won after all, not through force, but through politics, through betrayal, through the very corruption you spent your life trying to destroy. You sit in that Hungarian cell for 12 years. 12 years. And somehow, impossibly, you survive even that. Level 9. One last throne. Matthias Corvinus eventually needs you again. The Ottomans are a problem he cannot solve alone. And you, even after 12 years in captivity, are the only man alive who made Mehmed the Conqueror blink. He releases you. He gives you a small army. He even gives you his cousin's hand in marriage. You convert to Catholicism to secure the alliance. You swallow whatever you must swallow, because the throne is still there. Wallachia is still there. And in 1476, you take it back for the third time. You are Prince of Wallachia again, at last. But everything has changed. Your power base is gone. The boyars, who once feared you, have had 12 years to regroup. The Ottomans have had 12 years to plant their people, their allies, their agents across your land. You have weeks, not years. And somewhere out in the dark, an army is already moving.